Okay, so I think I missed 3 videos. So we are kind of, I, I feel like we haven't talked in a while, and I guess we haven't. Uh, and I'm not happy about that. It's just the way things went. But it has presented me with a unique opportunity, and one that I probably wouldn't have found myself in had it not been for the circumstances uh, that kind of crept up on me, right? So, gosh, I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday, um, I was kind of half planning on maybe not doing a video that week, anyways, because I was planning on going to see the new Avengers movie, like everybody else, a few days late because I didn't want to packed theaters, sit in line, bad seats, yada yada yada. All kinds of reasons to just wait 5 days. And so that's what I was gonna do. I blew a tire on my way to work. That's the moral of the story. Before I sit here and talk about that too much. Moral of the story is I blew a tire, and I had to kind of do some finagling to get that taken care of. And among regular life stuff, that ate up the time I had to do a Smackdown video. Then the following week, I had to take care of some insurance stuff, and it's all taken care of and everything's good. But the again, the time that I would have had normally to do these kinds of videos was taken up by something I had to handle in my real life, right? So now, where that presents the unique opportunity, I normally am I'm a big wrestling fan. I enjoy it. And on top of that, I do this, so I end up like taking notes and kind of recapping matches, which I think I've been kind of flirting with not really doing anymore. And I think other than really important spots and really important matches, or things that really just made my jaw hit the floor, I don't really think I'm interested in going over a play by play of what happened on Raw or what happened on SmackDown really anymore. But that's what I was doing for a long time. And so I was taking notes on these matches so that I could come back and I could talk about it, right? And as you would do if you wanted to kind of effectively be able to do that. What I what happened instead is I didn't not watch wrestling per se. I did have to watch SmackDown from 2 weeks ago this week. So I was behind on SmackDown, but I watched Raw when I would have normally watched Raw. Um, so it's not to say that I wouldn't have, it's not to say that I didn't pay attention at all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But because I wasn't planning on doing any videos, I wasn't taking notes. The only reason that I would really remember what happened at any given time is because it was cool, because it made an impression on me. And I got to be honest, I've got nothing for you. Um, you know, I was kind of stoked the last time I made a SmackDown video. I was kind of stoked about Kevin Owens joining the New Day while Big E was injured. And I do kind of like what they've done with that. I actually do, right? I'm not trying to say everything that they've done in the last few weeks has been bad. SmackDown has been excuse me, consistently pretty good. Not bad. SmackDown has not been a bad show and has continued its tradition of the last year and a half or so of being, for the most part, you could, if you were to bet on what was going to be the more entertaining show, SmackDown or Raw, you could bet SmackDown every week and come out way ahead of the guy who, bet Raw a lot or whatever. Like you could come out way ahead on your investment just by betting SmackDown every single week. And so, like, my point, really, though, Raw has been boring. Raw, I haven't even been watching the 3-hour version of Raw at all. At all. I've been watching the Hulu version, the hour and a half. Show me the stuff relevant to the pay-per-view, kind of skip the rest of it. I read about some of it on Bleacher Report and stuff like that, so I know what happened, but I don't want to invest 3 hours of my Monday night. I work on Monday afternoon, Monday morning, I get home, it's Monday night, I eat dinner, I hang out for a couple hours, and Raw comes on at 8, and it's going to eat up the rest of my night, and I'm a wrestling fan, and I don't want to do it. And it's not just that I'm a wrestling fan, I'm a WWE fan. 99% of the jaw jacking that I have done on YouTube and has all been about WWE. It's not just been about wrestling in general. I've barely talked about AEW. I've confessed that other than knowing who some of the major guys are, and you can go on YouTube and find matches that are oldish, and I don't watch New Japan. I occasionally will watch Ring of Honor if I'm bored and I need something to do, and I'm always reminded that I maybe should watch it more, but I don't want to be involved in 12 different subscription services for wrestling. Maybe if I was making money on YouTube and was getting a job out of sitting around watching wrestling, but that's not really why I do this. That was never the plan. It was never the point. The point was I like to talk about things that interest me, and wrestling is very interesting to me, and that was just it. And maybe 10 people might think that what I have to say about wrestling is cool, and maybe we could do some distance conversations. I don't really have any local friends into wrestling. Most of my friends that were into wrestling that used to live here in town with me have all moved on to bigger and better things. And I wasn't into wrestling when they lived here. So it's just this, so I missed out on that with them. And that's kind of like why I'm doing this, So if you're one of them guys and you're out there listening and you've been watching WWE lately, what the hell's going on, man? Like, we have a pretty cool, if you ask me, superstar shakeup when it comes to the names that moved around and the different permutations and matches. I was a little bit disappointed that both like guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe moved together, because it'll just be, if there was ever a feud on Raw between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, it would be no different than anything we'd already seen them do just in this last year on SmackDown. I feel like we really saw, and not that I wouldn't want to see it again, but having them split up means that they're going to have to come up with something different and stuff, and I like what they're doing with AJ Styles on SmackDown with having him and Seth Rollins feuding together. I still can't figure out who's really, and it may be that it's as obvious as it seems, because the obvious choice is that in this situation, AJ Styles has done a heel turn. But if AJ Styles has done a heel turn, it's a very soft heel turn. I think that, to me, looking at it, it's difficult to me to discern who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And I don't have a problem with that. I think this face heel dynamic is I'm of two minds about it. I both like it and think that it has a place in wrestling, of course, but I also think that a more complex characters and more complex feuds where you could maybe see either guy's perspective or I think that that has a growing place in wrestling now too. Um, it's not, you know, it's not necessary to have these black and white characters of, this guy is obviously good and this guy's obviously bad. That's not necessary all the time anymore. So, uh, so again, in the kind of things that Kofi's got going on right now, again, I don't hate most of this stuff. It's just been kind of blah. And so we get it, like I said, I got a little derailed there for a second, but we had a decent superstar shakeup where some cool people got moved around. I even thought we were going to have some drama or maybe an introduction of potentially a new belt or something when after the first 2 days of the superstar shakeup, they did not make it explicitly clear, at least to me, that Samoa Joe was to be moving to Raw. It just looked like we were going to have 3 male singles belts on Smackdown for a little while until somehow one or the other got shifted over to Raw. I was hoping in a pay-per-view in some sort of super fight where you get a guy from Raw asking for Finn's IC title. He wants it back on Raw or something. I just feel like they could have done something by having the 3 titles on SmackDown for a little bit, even if it maybe sacrificed a little bit of Raw's prestige or whatever for a little while. Or vice versa. I mean, they could have had 3 male titles on Raw too, and had somebody from SmackDown trying to win one back over for the other side. It doesn't have to. It's just the when they moved Finn and didn't announce that they moved Joe until later, I kind of was thinking that these are the things that they can do now, and that'll be cool. But they're ruining it completely with this wild card rule that they already have broken. They've already broken the wild card rule. The first day of the wild card rule, at least as far as I understood it, the rule was that first, the announcer at least said 3, that there would be 3 wrestlers from Raw and 3 wrestlers from SmackDown who would be able to one time appear on the other show. Well, Roman Reigns, within the first 2 weeks of the rule, has appeared on Raw twice already. And not only that, but I believe it's been bumped up to 5. It's the last I know, 5 people from Raw and SmackDown who can bounce back and forth. I mean, obviously this is dwindling into like the end of the brand split or whatever. I don't know if that's a good idea. I know that a lot of people have varying opinions about the brand split. My personal opinion is that it's good. I think a brand split is a good idea. I don't know why. It's almost as though if Raw and SmackDown didn't have different people on them and were just continuations of the same show. It's almost like somebody like Hulu or something could put out a clipped together 2-hour or 2.5-hour show that was just this week in WWE television. Why watch both shows? Especially with how bad some of the writing can be. Why watch both shows if there isn't a distinct identity for each of them? And maybe that's just me. Maybe the rest of you absolutely don't feel that way. And you know, you all watched wrestling during the days, and so did I for some of it, when there was Raw and SmackDown, but no direct split between the two brands. It was just things happen. Sometimes something could carry over from one night to the next. Monday and Friday, I think, at one point in time. So early in the week and then late in the week. You know, that's fine and good when your product is good. But if you want to have two shows and 5 hours of, you know, WWE sports entertainment on television and you expect me to watch it, it's either got to be good or it's got to be different. Split up between the two shows. I need good or I need different. And right now, I feel like I'm not getting either of those things with this wild card rule thing. And I would prefer, honestly, if they were just like, you know, Finn Balor right now he's on SmackDown right now. And we really could use him for this storyline going on Raw, but we don't want to lose him on SmackDown. To hell with it. We're just going to have him on both shows for a little bit. Whatever. If Finn Balor is down for that travel schedule, then whatever. I would rather have that. Just no explanation or minimal explanation. I'm here and I got a fight to do. I've got a bone to pick with somebody. It's my terrible Finn Balor. I'm sorry to anybody who was offended by that. I'd rather have that. And another thing that I'm really annoyed about this week on Raw, we had another situation where we have a bunch of guys out. I can't even remember who it was because it's not even important. Promo. A bunch of wrestlers promoing each other, and somebody comes out and goes, whoa. You know what? Only way to settle this, we're going to have a tag team match right now. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it. And I'm upset that I'm tired of it. I like wrestling. And honestly, pretty much since WrestleMania, with the exception of The Undertaker showing up to punch Elias and beat him up, and the initial being psyched up about the superstar shakeup. I'm not trying to act like it's even been a long time since WrestleMania. It's been 5.5 weeks. But since WrestleMania, I have been bored. Straight up bored. So I've been like, even more than I like wrestling, I've been wanting to like wrestling. And that's no good.